Okay, so we just got done with Week 18 and it's over. The NFL regular season is no more, but we do have the playoffs to look forward to, of course, so let's tackle this last week and get right into the recap. Saturday afternoon AFC North football. Is there anything better than sitting down and watching a tough, gritty, ugly weather game between the Steelers, who have everything to lose, and the Ravens, are rolling out a squad featuring Laquan Treadwell as the leading receiver? Yeah, I kind of wish the Ravens tried because it would have made things at least a little fun, but instead this game was 60 minutes of seeing if the Steelers could manage to defeat themselves or not. And it was a tough battle, and the Steelers definitely took a huge chunk out of themselves, but they got the job done. And it's still so hard for me to accept, but Najee Harris, statistically one of the best modern running backs through his first 3 years, I guess, has become the engine and glue to this entire offense. Long gone are the days earlier this year where he was one of the most inefficient running backs in football, and now he's embodied the Steelers' way of life. So, along with the Pittsburgh O-line, they were able to grind out one of the prettier Steelers wins of the season. Albeit the bar is pretty low, but man, Tyler Huntley sucks. Congratulations, Pittsburgh. Somehow you're in the playoffs, which would be a cause for celebration for a normal team, or I guess a bad team, but then you realize you're simply going to be a piece of meat thrown to the Bills, and TJ Watt suffered an injury that will probably knock him out for a few weeks, but it is TJ Watt, so anything's possible. And we'll see you in a week. And for Baltimore, if the few starters you play don't all get hurt, then that's a win for you. Enjoy your week of rest. Listen, Colts fans, please listen to me closely, okay? It's all right. It's not the end of the world. You lost the game, but just think for a minute how far you've come and how much worse this game, hell, this season could have gone for you. This team could have buckled after the Nico Collins 75-yard bomb, but they didn't. They chose to fight. Jonathan Taylor and all that contract came to play, and you gave the Texans all you had. It just so happens that the Texans have their budding star quarterback, and you don't. Nothing you can do about that, and when it mattered most, CJ Stroud made plays showing that he has what it takes to step up in winning moments in a playoff-like atmosphere. I mean, not that there was ever any doubt about that, but yeah, CJ Stroud is pretty good. But the Colts weren't dead yet. The Texans laid down all their cards and prayed it was enough to make the playoffs, but here came Gardner Minshew, going down the field with a chance to ruin everything, and then in came Tyler Goodson, a man who, hold on, I'm currently struggling to find listed on the goddamn depth chart, and one thing led to another. Minshew threw it a little behind, and the Colts are now eliminated from the playoffs. It's okay though, Indy, don't worry. Remember how you got here. You were projected to be one of the worst teams in football before the season, and Anthony Richardson is the franchise next year, so just lie to yourself and assume you're gonna turn into the 2023 Lions next year. And for Houston, you smell that? Do you smell that? That's the smell of the playoffs right there. Let's go. Good boys. With a rookie quarterback, the Houston Texans are in the playoffs and are hosting a wild card game. Don't even think about the outcome of the game, okay? Honestly, if you're a Houston fan, try to go to this one too. It'll be a great time, and it will obviously be an invaluable experience for your young core. I mean, just what a year. Seriously, just have fun next week. You deserve it. You made it. Congratulations, soldiers. Any of you poor life forms, otherwise known as 2023 Carolina Panthers fans, are now free. This team can't hurt you anymore, but they sure as hell did go out with a fucking bang. Back-to-back 0-point games is historic. And if the Bucs were playing against any other team, they would have lost this game, but I've said that about 8 times this year, so I guess this is just how the Bucs play football, and boy am I excited to see them host a wild card game. I can't wait. And you know, DJ Chark's fumble out of the end zone encapsulated the entire season for you, along with the game as a whole. But it was just a tough year, Carolina fans, and that's not even beginning to describe everything that went wrong. Just a season you're never going to want to remember ever again. David Tepper is quickly becoming Dan Schneider 2.0, minus the cheerleader stuff so far, but at least looking at a wider view, there are some positives. Derek Brown is looking really good, and for the love of God! Oh, woo! Are y'all ready for this? Oh, I've been waiting for this one. Let me just come out and say, if you're not aware, the Jacksonville Jaguars lost this game to the Tennessee Titans and are eliminated from the playoffs. Eliminated from the playoffs! The Jaguars aren't in the play. I don't want to hear a single excuse from you, Jacksonville. Did you not have opportunities? I'll get to this game in a second, but let's break down how we found ourselves in this darkest timeline, okay? Blowout loss to the 49ers at home. Embarrassing. Trevor Lawrence throws 3 picks and you lose to a playoff rival in the Browns. Embarrassing. And then, I'm sure it's still fresh in your memory, but you got gaped and railed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-12 and finished your season not beating a single healthy contender, and people still wonder how the hell we got here. The truth is, the Jaguars just don't deserve to make it to the playoffs. They're simply worse than every playoff team in the AFC. Except the Steelers. But they had chances in this game to change fate and couldn't get it done. The defense and offense equally folded in the first half, and then later on, Josh Allen made massive plays to give the offense a chance, but Trevor Lawrence just had one of the most pathetic last drives I've ever seen, missing arguably 3 straight throws to end one of the most disappointing campaigns out of any player this year. And so, with the dust settled, the Jaguars paid off their debt to the Colts 2 years ago, and maybe the tradition of choking to a trash divisional team will be passed down to like Houston next year or something, but for the Titans now, Derrick Henry is pretty much all but guaranteed to leave. A farewell speech is pretty rare, especially for someone who should still have a few years left, so thank you for your service, Derrick. If this truly is an end of an era in Tennessee, it was an honor to watch you play, and the Titans couldn't have ruined the Jaguar season without you, so enjoy your one last you to the Jaguars organization. It's what you did best.
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah.
And now we get to the games that really don't matter. The Saints and Falcons both gave it their all because I guess there was a chance either team could make the playoffs, but the Panthers completed Chicago's tank job, so yeah. Well, what resulted was one of the most complete games the Saints have played all year. Of course, just one last you to the Saints fans who had to see the mere glimpses of greatness that this team showed throughout the year, only for it to amount to nothing. And there's no consolation prize for being good sometimes. And with the way New Orleans ended this season, I'm worried the Saints coaching staff might be back next year, which is scary, but at least Atlanta shouldn't have to worry about that. The mustache man's meltdown sealed his job being taken, which is nice. That's great. Wait, peace can actually take place for an offseason, and maybe you can find a coach who will actually decide to use some of the most talented offensive players in the NFL, and at least you learn that Bijan Robinson is good this year, so that's good, I think. What a high-scoring game for these two team standards. Wow, you almost broke 20, New York. How naughty of you. But the only real takeaway is that the broadcast treated this game like it was Bill Belichick's funeral. Like, damn, absolutely nothing has been confirmed about his retirement, firing, or resignation or whatever, and we're just acting like he's walking away from football for good? Time will only tell, but if this was his last game coaching for at least the Patriots, he did his duty and pulled off one last loss to lock up a top 3 pick and a new shiny quarterback for New England. So, although the last piece of the empire may be gone, a new apprentice is still likely to rise from the shadows. And we're all probably doomed. This might cost you a playoff game, Dan Campbell. Not saying I'm against or for playing your starters with so little potentially on the line, but regardless of what was mathematically the right decision, you paid the price. Sam Laporta is now injured, and that cloud of depression kind of just dampened the mood of the entire game. CJ Gardner-Johnson came back, which potentially can be league-breaking if he returns to full form, but Laporta being gone is just so painful. Whatever, though, you chose to bet on the Commanders, and now you must live with the consequences. So just rally the troops for the wild card, and don't risk Laporta's entire career if it comes down to it. And get ready to battle the ghost of your past. And for Minnesota, time to answer some questions. The main one, obviously, being the contract situation with Kirk Cousins, but you also have to figure out what you're trying to do with this roster, because with the Bears, Packers, and Lions all looking like a better team than you next year, another year of a rebuilding tank while trying to keep Jefferson healthy might be the play. But also, just please don't let the whole Randy Moss situation repeat itself. Please handle this Justin Jefferson situation with care. Well, this game quite literally had 0 playoff implications, so I could have actually just skipped over this game, and I don't think any of you would have noticed. Jeff Driscoll is still in the league, which is cool, and I I already recapped everything that went wrong with the Bengals season last week, which means all eyes turn to Joe Flacco and the Browns, who are now locked into a road trip to travel to Houston, the old versus the young, set to match up in the wild card. And I am actually just way more excited for this game than like Dolphins-Chiefs. For those of you who aren't aware and haven't experienced playoff Joe Flacco in the flesh, he's a whole different beast. And I'm not sure how he's going to morph his play this year, but I'm sure he'll somehow find a way, probably. But let's just all hope that it's in a positive way this time. But still, the formula to win for the Browns will remain the same. Just rely on their potentially legendary defense to get the job done, and against a rookie quarterback, the odds just might be in their favor. But before we get into the 1 p.m. games, it's time to talk about this video sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Now, if you've been watching these recaps over the past couple of weeks, then you're probably already familiar, but Underdog Fantasy is the easiest way to play fantasy sports, and my personal favorite way to do that is through the pick'em game format, where all you do is pick whether you think a player will go higher or lower on a singular stat, and depending on how many you get right in a row, you can win up to 20 times your money. And for these upcoming playoff wildcard games, I've got 4 picks right here, which are Isaiah Pacheco over 20.5 receiving yards, Najee Harris over 15.5 rush attempts, Joe Flacco over 36.5 pass attempts, and Brandon Cooks over 34.5 receiving yards. So, if you want to tail this pick'em entry or come up with your own and you live in one of these many states in orange on the screen here, then click the link in the description to sign up with promo code Tubfrog, and Underdog will match your first deposit of up to $100. And also, if you haven't used my code or signed up for Underdog yet, then you can receive 2 free pick'em offers this week, each on different games, where all Patrick Mahomes would have to do on Saturday is throw for a singular yard, and all Matthew Stafford would have to do on Sunday is throw for a singular yard. So you can use one of those if you want, and if you do, make sure you use promo code Tubfrog for a massive discount. And with that, let's get back to the recap. AJ Brown's hurt. Jalen Hurts is hurt. Other guys are still dealing with injuries. And that's probably the least significant problem you have. I'm not doing this again. I'm not. Listen to my rant last week versus Arizona if you want to hear me lose my mind, but not here. It's not the time or place, okay? See you next week. What amazing character development from the Packers this year. If you can remember, at one point, this team was a serious contender in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Jordan Love was logging constant god-awful performances one after the other, but ever since the Chargers game, I guess the Chargers will do that to you, Jordan Love has been off one. He went from a potentially failed experiment to, yeah, this man is the guy in Green Bay. And like CJ Stroud, getting a starting quarterback playoff experience in their first year is invaluable. And that is exactly what Jordan Love is going to get. It wasn't pretty, though. The first half in this game was slow, to say the least. Dontavian Wicks sold at the end of the first half, but Jordan Love is just so fun to watch, and he dialed in the second half, continuing to give us more and more reasons to believe there could be a real special connection between him and Jaden Reed. The hell did I just say? Whatever. The Packers are somehow in the playoffs, despite their defensive limitations. And for Chicago, listen, get rid of Justin Fields if you want. I really don't care. Just remember, you were in this situation before Justin Fields got here. A coaching staff you can't really trust. And instead of fixing the problems around the organization, you prayed that a rookie quarterback's talent could bail you out and cover up all your issues. And you damn near did this twice in a row if we want to go back to Trubisky. So just, please, maybe consider all options is all I'm saying. Just Justin Fields' job shouldn't be safe, but honestly, nobody's job in the organization should be either. Who am I kidding? They're going to ruin whoever they draft, aren't they? Well, this game had potential to matter, but no. The Packers got business done, and so the collapse of the Seahawks over the past 2 months or so was complete. Granted, they did have an incredibly tough schedule, but the way their defense completely melted down outside of Devin Witherspoon was still very impressive to me. The elite Pro Bowler Julian Love was able to put the defense on his back in this game, though, and the Cardinals' offense was only able to muster 466 yards of offense. But even better, the Cardinals also pulled off a fantastic loss with the second-in-command tank leader Matt Prater missing a game-winning field goal, coincidentally at least giving the Cardinals a real shot at drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. to pair with Kyler if they so choose to keep him. So enjoy the drafting process, Arizona. And meanwhile, Seattle continues to have a load of questions to answer as well, but the biggest ones are on defense, and maybe, just maybe, if the Seahawks tread water again for another season with another underwhelming defensive performance, regardless of the talent, maybe at the end of 2025, Pete Carroll just might be out of the NFL for good. Just an idea.
I have returned.
Carson Wentz versus Sam Darnold. Well, what a matchup. If you couldn't tell, this game did not need to be played. The only thing that mattered in this game was how long would it take for Puka to grab his rookie wide receiver records, and after the 49ers double teams chilled out, he got it, which is cool, I guess. But because the Rams won this game, we're going to get Rams versus Lions. Rams versus Lions. Matthew Stafford returning back to Detroit. Oh, it's going to be perfect. I'm so excited. It's going to be great. The Rams are going to win, aren't they?
And the Kansas City Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57.
Easton Stick versus Super Bowl champion Blaine Gabbert. Yes. Once again, I'm not even going to waste any time talking about this game. The Chiefs will now face Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins in a rematch from Germany in the playoffs, and the Chargers. Listen, if you actually think you're getting Jim Harbaugh, you're going to be disappointed. Simply, do not get your hopes up ever. When will you learn? And if you think that this is the worst it can get for your organization, don't. Trust me, it can still get so much worse. But whatever, continue living in your world of delusion if you want, and watch Justin Herbert slowly decay within the walls of this grimy-ass organization. And the later games that literally have no bearing on anything just continue on. This game was a win-win though. The Commanders needed a loss to lock up the number 2 pick and a franchise quarterback, and the Cowboys now have control of the division after the Eagles' historic collapse, so that's nice, but let me float a question by you Cowboys fans, okay? You listening? If you have Super Bowl aspirations, you know, you're going to have to play against the 49ers, right? And historically, or not even historically, just in the past couple of years, that hasn't gone super great for you. So do you actually believe that you can win it all? This is all assuming they're not going to just have massive problems with the red-hot Jordan Love in the wild card. At home, they should be able to excavate Joe Barry's defense, but I don't know, anything's possible. And also, last time Green Bay played a home playoff game versus Dallas, it didn't go well for you. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Just surpass expectations for the first time under Dak Prescott, please. That's what I'm asking of you. Ah, yes, a tradition as old as I don't know, 2015 or something. The annual Raiders beatdown of the Broncos is always a great time for everyone, but honestly, there wasn't really anything to learn from this game. I will say the players looked motivated to go out there and play for their coach's job, and they did so. I would be pretty shocked at this point if Antonio Pierce doesn't keep the head coaching job. It went from a pipe dream a few weeks ago to an almost certainty, and if we can get a promising rookie quarterback, I might be happy by 2028. And Denver, you know how it is. There's a real chance Russ could honestly be a Raider next year, and the tank will probably be in full effect, so you better hope Sean Payton still got it, because this organization is going to be feeding out of the palm of his hand for the next couple of years. Well, it was pretty unfortunate that the Jaguars decided to ruin everything by losing to the Titans, that all of a sudden, this game lost a massive amount of drama. The Bills and Dolphins were both locked into the playoffs, and although the seeding is still a massive thing to take into account, as a fan of another team that is stuck in an endless loop of despair and treachery, I really didn't care that much. But that didn't take away from the fact that this game was still pretty fun. The first half was mostly Miami, with the offense doing its thing despite the minimal injuries, and Josh Allen continues to be Josh Allen for better and for worse. But seriously though, to go back to the injuries thing, the nerfs they don't stop. Please, they're already dead. Why do they need to lose more pieces? If Van Ginkel's injury is serious, then that is so immoral, and with their limitations on defense already, Tyreek Hill not being able to catch 60% of the balls thrown at him and the offense shutting down around the cheetah, eventually Josh Allen got going and the Bills offense made things happen with a punt return for a touchdown sparking the comeback. It really felt like a playoff game though. The way the Bills did everything they could to keep Miami's offense off the field was awesome to watch, and just like that, a team that was considered a definite long shot to make the playoffs after getting embarrassed by Denver is now the number 2 seed. And even better, while Miami has to go to Arrowhead, Buffalo basically gets a first-round bye with Mason Rudolph and a team without an active safety/linebacker, which should be a free win. Emphasis on should, because hell, Buffalo would be the team that somehow lost to the Steelers in the encroachment warlock by 20. But first, you know what time it is. For one last time, it's time for the Tubfrog Discord Awards, where I turn to you, the people, to see what you thought were the best and worst plays and highlights from Week 18. And if you want to be a part of the voting process, I guess there won't be any more polls, but you can still join the Discord. The link is in the description. But I asked what you thought were the best plays from Week 18, and you thought it was Deontay Hardy's punt return for a touchdown. To be honest, this is honestly probably like the weakest week in terms of plays, but yeah, it wasn't super close either. And then I asked what you thought was the best game from Week 18, and the Texans vs. Colts playoff showdown honestly pretty easily took the win as well. It wasn't even a little bit close. The Dolphins-Bills game was the only one that was even on the radar. And then I asked what you thought was the best individual player performance from Week 18, and Nico Collins, the man who damn near dropped 200 yards in a playoff-clinching win, got the vote easily. And then I asked what you thought was the worst team performance, and I gave you many options, and honestly, the Eagles got it done. I thought the Jaguars would pretty much have this one on lock, but the Eagles did lose to the Giants by like 30, so I still don't want to talk about it. And then I asked what was the worst individual player performance from Week 18, and one more time, just for good old time's sake, a Patriots quarterback had to claim the award. Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones were two of the top contenders for this award all year, and Bailey Zappi had to get it one more time. And then I asked what your favorite medieval weapon was, and the longsword. I love me a good longsword. No arguments there. But anyways, if you like this video, then subscribe, because I got a lot of videos on the channel just like this one. And if you like this video, then watch this video that I did on Robert Griffin III and the tragedy that is his NFL career. It's pretty good, trust me. And also, thanks to all my Patreons for pledging $1. It truly means a lot. But anyways, until next time.